In this video, we are looking at a powerful set of connected quotes that you can use in any Macbeth essay. Whether the question is on Macbeth's character, ambition, power, guilt, kingship, these quotes will help you. They'll help you show knowledge of the whole play for AO1. You'll be able to zoom in on language and methods for AO2 and link to the key ideas and context for AO3. So let's take them one cluster at a time. First up is the transformation of Macbeth. At the start of the play, he is described as brave Macbeth and compared to Bellona's bridegroom. But by the end, he is known as Black Macbeth and a dead butcher. Use these quotes to show how Macbeth's character deteriorates over time and how Shakespeare uses contrasting imagery to track that downfall. In an essay on Macbeth's character, you might say, at the start of the play, Macbeth is admired as brave Macbeth and even likened to the god of war, Bellona's bridegroom, showing his honour and his strength. However, by the end, he is reduced to Black Macbeth and the dead butcher. This language reflects how far he has fallen from grace due to his unchecked ambition and his moral collapse. The next group is violence and bloodshed. In the opening, Macbeth uses his swords to fight for his king and country. His sword smoked with bloody execution. This symbolism changes when he uses a dagger to murder King Duncan, and eventually we see his transformation into a tyrant ruler killing women and children. Give to the edge of the sword his wife, his babes. Use these to track Macbeth's growing brutality, to show how he moves from heroic violence to senseless slaughter. In an essay on ambition or power, you might write, at first, Macbeth's violence is celebrated, and his sword is a symbol of loyalty to the king, smoked with bloody execution. But later, his ambition drives him to cruelty, visualized through the hallucinated dagger that leads him to murder King Duncan. Eventually, he orders the killing of innocents, his wife, his babes, showing his transformation into a ruthless tyrant. Next is ambition and the supernatural. So at the start, Macbeth places all of his faith in the witches, and he commands them, "Stay, you imperfect speakers, tell me more." Banquo is more resistant, calling them instruments of darkness. As we move through the play, Macbeth states that he has no spur. A spur is usually seen on the back of cowboy boots to drive a horse faster. So here we see a lack of confidence in Macbeth. However, he does admit that he has an overwhelming, vaulting ambition. Use these quotes for Macbeth's relationship with the witches and how ambition is ignited by the supernatural. An example analysis could look something like this. From the moment Macbeth hears the witches, he is captivated. "Tell me more," he urges. Although Banquo recognises them as instruments of darkness, Macbeth places all his faith in their words. He admits he has no spur to kill King Duncan except vaulting ambition, foreshadowing his downfall and confirming ambition as his hamartia. Now let's look at Lady Macbeth in terms of power, gender and guilt. And the quotes, "Unsex me here, what's done is done, and what's done cannot be undone." Use these to show Lady Macbeth's early dominance and her later breakdown. Explore gender roles and guilt. And in an essay, you could say, Lady Macbeth's request to unsex me here shows her desire to abandon feminine qualities and adopt masculine power. At first, she's emotionally detached. What's done is done. But by the end, this turns to despair. What's done cannot be undone. This shift in tone reveals how guilt eventually destroys her. Next up is religion, sleep, and the soul. So after the regicide, Macbeth says that he cannot say amen and that he will sleep no more. At the end, Lady Macbeth keeps a light by her continually. Use these for exploring guilt and divine judgments, as well as the consequences of regicide. And for an essay on morality or consequences, you could start with something like, Macbeth's inability to say amen and his belief that he will sleep no more show how his soul is tormented from the moment he murders Duncan. Later, Lady Macbeth is haunted in her sleep, needing light by her continually, suggesting that neither of them can escape the darkness that they have invited. Next is masculinity and manipulation. So we see Lady Macbeth's concerns in the way she calls Macbeth a coward, when she confronts him with "when you durst do it, then you were a man," and when she states that he lacks the illness. Use these for Lady Macbeth's power over her husband and the Jacobean ideal of masculinity. And for an essay on Lady Macbeth, power or ambition, you could write, Lady Macbeth emasculates Macbeth, calling him a coward and claiming, "when you durst do it, then you were a man." She argues that he lacks the illness or the evil necessary to succeed, showing how she manipulates his masculinity to achieve her goals. One of the key themes in this play is appearance versus reality. And we see it when Lady Macbeth commands Macbeth to look like the innocent flower but be the serpent under it. And where Macbeth echoes that sentiment with "false face must hide what the false heart doth know." Use these to discuss deceit and manipulation and show links to the theme of appearance versus reality. In your essay, you could discuss how Lady Macbeth advises Macbeth to look like the innocent flower but be the serpent under it, using biblical imagery to promote deception. Macbeth echoes this with "false face must hide what the false heart doth know," showing how deception becomes a shared language between them. It's important to discuss the deterioration in Macbeth's mental state in this play. Following the regicide, he confides in Lady Macbeth. "Oh, full of scorpions is my mind, dear wife." Use this quote to show Macbeth's paranoia and his descent into instability. For an essay on guilt, you could begin with, "Macbeth's mind is full of scorpions, violent, poisonous thoughts. Like a scorpion, they continue to hurt him and poison his mind." This metaphor reveals the intensity of his fear and ambition. He can no longer think clearly, only plot his next move. Darkness and evil is everywhere in Macbeth. When King Duncan is murdered, Scotland is plunged into darkness. Darkness does the face of earth entomb. We see how the Macbeths become consumed with that darkness and evil, and how it affects them with "unnatural deeds do breed unnatural troubles, and hell is murky." Use these for symbolism of darkness, the consequences of sin. You could write, Macbeth's actions plunge Scotland into a metaphorical darkness. Darkness does the face of earth entomb. The Doctor later observes, unnatural deeds breed unnatural troubles, referring to Lady Macbeth. She herself cries, hell is murky, suggesting a subconscious fear of eternal punishment. And finally, let's look at Scotland and kingship. When Macbeth becomes king, many of the lords cry out for their suffering country, how it weeps, it bleeds, and Malcolm knows that he must free Scotland from bloody knives. Use these to show the consequences of Macbeth's tyranny, and to reflect Shakespeare's message about kingship. For an essay on power or leadership, start with, under Macbeth's rule, Scotland becomes a suffering country that weeps and bleeds. Malcolm promises to set it free from bloody knives, contrasting Macbeth's tyranny with the hope of restoration and rightful leadership.